The new 12-team college football playoff starts Friday night when Notre Dame hosts Indiana. I talked with CBS Sports Tom Fornelli about that game, predictions for the playoff, and his thoughts on how the bracket breaks down.
I do think that a lot of the flaws in the format were evident in this very first year, and they're obvious right away. Like getting Arizona State and Boise State buys in the first round. And listen, based on the rules, they both earned it. They won their conferences, and they were ranked higher than Clemson, who was the fifth conference champion. It makes things awkward in that Oregon, who's the only undefeated team in the country, the number one seed overall, will end up having to face either Ohio State or Tennessee in the second round, both of whom would probably be favored by at least a touchdown or more over both Arizona State or Boise State.
Well, one of those first round matchups that we got is providing us with a rare Indiana versus Notre Dame battle for Hoosier State supremacy. What are your thoughts on that game? And obviously two teams that basically never play each other.
The idea that Indiana and Notre Dame are in the very first playoff in the opening round is something that I don't think any of us could have comprehended before the season began, because even with Kurt Signetti coming to Indiana, like I thought it was a great hire, and I knew he was bringing in good, accomplished, smaller conference school players with them via the transfer portal. And I was sitting there thinking, all right, well, Indiana's going to get to a bowl game. Maybe if things go well, they'll win 7, maybe even 8 games. But here we are. They're 11-1. They're in the playoff. They're going to South Bend for a playoff game against Notre Dame. And what is honestly, like, it's not only the biggest surprise of the playoff round, it's probably the most attractive game. Like, if you look at ticket prices right now, the get-in price for this game is insane compared to the other 3 first-round games. So Indiana's got nothing to lose. Notre Dame has everything to lose. They cannot afford to lose this one because, like you said, they never play. So, like, when will Notre Dame ever get another shot to actually get revenge on the Hoosiers if they drop this one? This is a very fascinating game, and I think it's one that I really don't know who's going to win. Notre Dame is very good, and obviously Indiana, there's been a lot of questions about their schedule. They lost against Ohio State, which was far and away the best team they have seen this year. You can question the overall strength of their schedule, but what you can't question is they crushed every single one of those teams.
As we mentioned, you got kind of the weird seedings on the top with some of the best teams seeming like the toughest routes. Maybe not as tough for, like a Notre Dame, especially if Beck is hurt for Georgia. I know it's tough to predict this with 12 teams in it, but who do you see coming out of this?
I don't know. I mean, the Carson Beck injury really does kind of throw a wrench into the entire situation. I think that one side of the bracket is very up for grabs, and I think that Notre Dame-Indiana game could prove to be very, very important for both teams because they will move on to play Georgia. And if you're getting Georgia without its starting quarterback, there's a very good chance that you can move on and win that game, or at least better than you would have thought with a healthy Carson Beck, which then gets you to the semifinals. As far as the other side, I still think Oregon is the best team in the country. Like, they are undefeated. They are number one. It's just, I don't know if I look at them as a team that is invincible. Whoever they face in the second round, they could easily lose that game. I was skeptical of this format, thinking that it was just going to lead to more of the same. But I will say, in this very first season, because of injuries and because of the way that the bracket ended up working out, this is wide open. I look at Boise State, and I don't think they can win it. I don't think Arizona State can win it. I don't think SMU or Clemson can win it. But I feel like everybody else in this field has a somewhat of a shot of being a national champion, which is not something I would have imagined at the beginning of the year.